Hello and welcome to the 9th edition of UTA Spotlight Fall 2016. I'm Myra Cordova.
And I'm Brian Wynn. Today we'll talk about the early voting taking place on campus.
We'll get an update on the Dakota Access Pipeline protests.
And we learn about a student's courageous journey.
Thank you for joining us.
This is UTA Spotlight.
This presidential election has seen the highest early voter turnout since 2008. Larissa Moreno was at the MAC to tell us more.
Early voting started this past week in Texas, and UTA made it accessible to students, staff, and the public, opening polls at the Mavericks Activity Center. For some students, it was the first election in which they got a chance to get their voices heard.
Yes, this is my first time voting, and I just wanted to make an impact on the election. I feel like, especially this election, it's really important in who wins.
Well, I feel like every voice should be heard. We are making a difference in our community, in our state, in our nation, whether you think so or not, with just one vote. I feel like this being my first election, I really had to do this because it's my first opportunity to have my voice heard.
And I just think it's fair that we have a government that can look out for everybody alike and not be restrictive.
The reason why I think a lot of millennials are getting involved is because you kind of had this surge with Bernie Sanders, and there's just been a huge surge on college campuses just to get the younger people involved because they are the future. We are the future.
Regardless of the outcome, this is a historic election based on the first-time voters that made their voices heard.
It will be interesting to see if our future president does anything about the Dakota Access Pipeline issue. David Dunn has more on the protest.
It would normally be a quiet day outside Chief Oil and Gas in Dallas, Texas, but not last week. On Tuesday, protesters gathered outside the building to protest the construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline, a project endorsed by the company.
Dallas stands with Standing Rock!
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 Protesters rallied outside the building with cardboard signs, megaphones, speakers, and loud voices as their tools for protest. Even though North Dakota is miles away, it still affects many Dallas residents, including Yolanda Bluehorse, whose family members are immediately affected by the pipeline's construction around their natural water resources.
It hurts. It hurts to see that my people are be considered throwaway people when this pipeline was originally routed to go through Bismarck. And because they didn't want it there, then it's okay to go throw it by the tribe, and they're not going to say nothing. But they were wrong.
No water!
No life!
No water!
No life!
Protesters continue to march around the building into the afternoon, including Hearst resident Leo Abreu.
Water is life. It's the one thing that makes this planet special compared to all the other planets in the galaxy. Just to know that these companies are going through certain geographical areas where they were prohibited to go through in the first place, and yet they're still going to go through it. It's just completely irresponsible in their part.
While most see the pipeline as a violation on the environment, Bluehorse sees it as a violation against a group of people.
This is a human rights issue, is what this boils down to. And, I sure want to ask these news affiliates, if this was happening to your family, we would stand there and be with you. But this is happening outside and they're not here.
Protesters chanted for the rest of the evening, up until 9 p.m. Bluehorse said that they will have another protest next week. David Dunn, UTA News.
Another protest has been scheduled for November 15th at the Earl Cabell Federal Building in downtown Dallas. For more information, go to the Society of Native Nations page on Facebook.com.
Life is full of challenges, but many times the right attitude can help determine our altitude. Nicole Dio tells us the story of one UTA student who remains positive despite facing daily challenges.
While many of us are thinking about the presidential election and watch parties, one UTA student faces challenges that may not be so obvious.
Parking, you gotta be up here really early to get a close parking spot. If you're late, well then you're parked all the way out at the back.
Parking isn't the only challenge. Olson says he is sometimes bullied on campus and is also concerned about finding a job after graduation.
I guess every once in a while you'll deal with some mean people, but I mean, you know, there's always mean and then there's always good people. It's just, that's life.
With a smile like that, it didn't take long to figure out Olson has a positive attitude about life. He says there are two things that put an even bigger smile on his face, and one of them is working out at the MAC.
Coming up here to the gym, the workout, it takes all my stress out, helps me clear my mind.
The other one is his brother.
Me and him don't get to see each other much since he's at A&M, but whenever I get to see him, that usually brightens my day.
And one afternoon with UTA senior Michael Olson brightened my day. Nicole Deal, UTA News.
Michael has proved that a positive attitude goes a long way, and we could all learn a thing or two from him. Well, thank you for joining us on this 9th edition of UTA Spotlight. I'm Maya Cordova.
And I'm Brian Wynn. On behalf of our producer Maria Martinez and videographer Kevin Valencia, we'd like to thank you for watching
UTA Spotlight.